Good morning. Thank you, Altic. Thank you, Mr. Vice Minister. Again, I will talk to you a little bit about our experience in Jordan regarding angel investment activities. Slide, please. So let me just put things a little bit in perspective, because sometimes we get, dug into the details and really look at why we do this to begin with. And I think the general idea is governments and societies, they invest in education, they invest in R&D. And eventually, the final goal is economic development. And I would go even a step further. Economic development itself, in terms of wealth creation, job creations, really the ultimate goal, in my opinion, is the human dignity. By the end of the day, we want the people of the society to have a good standard of living and really preserve the human dignity in our planet. So, but in the process, there's a lot of things need to be done. By taking R&D, by taking education, there is an investment at this point. It doesn't make money. Through innovation, which is a process, and entrepreneurship, which is an attitude toward risk, change that into economic development. So from value creation, then able to capture that value. Next, please. Of course, we all know that any enterprise creation, any venture, will go through many stages, from the idea stage all the way to the implementation. As Altich said, I think the ratio could be 1,000 ideas, only maybe 10 will make it to market and actually become that commercially viable. So it's a risky process, and it's a long process. It starts from the idea, whether the idea comes from the market, from the competition, all the way to proving the concept, IP, business plan, and then launching and marketing and positioning and investment. Of course, I was glad to hear His Excellency, the Vice Minister, talking about all the issues from business plan competitions to the universities, etc., because you need all that. Next, please. In order to create a company. There is a saying that says it takes a whole village to raise a child. So these companies are unlikely to just grow by themselves. They need an ecosystem. They need a village. Together, they can grow a company. Next, please. And this is what we think the village would look like. This is the elements of the ecosystem in general. And there was a lot of talk yesterday about the ecosystem, like going to the theoretical basis or the high-level analysis of this. But as you can see, although we're talking about risk capital today and angel investment today, however, a lot of these components need not only to be developed, but need to be integrated together. From having functional incubators to support startups. Even before that, Manny talked about the culture in China. And it's not just in China, even in Jordan. We have this tendency against failure. Society thrown upon failure. So the culture of entrepreneurship, that it's okay to fail. And many people give you the advice to hurry up and fail. So start the business, and if it's going to fail fast, and move on to the next step. That needs to be developed. Our education system needs to encourage entrepreneurship and make people think more innovative. Spending on R&D, that's a long-term process that requires an industry to support and transfer the technology from university to the industry. The infrastructure, government incentives, all these components really have to be there if we want to systematically start seeing companies and new ventures created. Next, please. This is a little exercise we did in Jordan with the help of the German GTZ, where they looked at the innovation system in general, from the policy level to the institutional level, to the program level, to the capacity building level, and go into each one of those, measure the level of support there to the whole innovation system, and came up with some recommendation. Next, please. Which I really like the approach in this. So they said, okay, there is what we call expected impact. There is high impact, low impact, and then the vertical axis is effort. So if you look at things like R&D, it's a lot of effort. It has a lot of impact, but it's a lot of effort and a long-term investment. There are other things in the lower quadrant which considered high impact and could be done very quickly with little efforts. Things like incubators, things like angel networks, entrepreneurship support, etc. These things can be done very quickly with no requirement for long-term commitment and can have immediate impact that can be tangible. Next, please. So, we talked a lot about the theoretical basis for this. What I want to share with you today is an experience we had in Jordan. It's a science and technology city. It's a technopark. Through this technopark, we're trying to build an ecosystem, a small ecosystem in the country. Next, please. And this is really the actual physical location. It's about 400,000 square feet. That include, as you see, at the lower part, about 3 universities in the same walking distance. University of Jordan, which is the biggest. Princess Sumaya University, which is technology university, and the German Jordan University. That's where the academia part. You move up, you get the Royal Scientific Society, and that's where a lot of the R&D, a lot of the labs and the testing takes place, all the way to the business park where commercializing is staged. Next, please. So that's what we call, the innovation avenue, from academia, from idea to R&D to patenting, all the way to starting up a business and become commercial. So this is the physical location of this. Next, please. To come at the component. In this city, there are 4 major components, which I call the hardware. These are the components that exist. Of course, the mother organization is the Royal Scientific Society. That was started in 1970 and really focuses on using science for the help of the country, whether via testing of water or standard for buildings, whatever requires scientific testing and research. Then Princess Sumaya University, which is owned by the Royal Scientific Society, is a technology university and one of the best in Jordan. The Higher Council for Science and Technology, that's a government arm to drive and implement policy related to science, technology, and innovation, and some funding of R&D. And the last component, the most recent, was the business park, which I work in that entity. And I will talk mainly about the business park at this stage because that's where the angel investment network is. Next, please. Please, one more. One more. Okay, so the business park is really four programs, as I mentioned. That some, like Queer Area Center for Entrepreneurship, they run business plan competition. They do a lot of capacity building and spreading the culture of entrepreneurship, which is one component in the ecosystem. Then we have the iPark. That is the incubator, where we actually incubate startup companies. So some of the deals that come out of the business plan competition end up in the incubator. We have what's called the Intellectual Property Commercialization Office. That works a lot with universities trying to commercialize R&D project and also work in technology transfer from university to industry. And the final component we call Bidaya, which means beginning in Arabic. And it is the angel network. Next, please. Just to show you some of again, the Queer Area Center is one component. It runs business plan competition. Every year we run a boot camp to train people how to write, people with idea, how to write a business plan. You go into a competition, you get some cash award, you get some recognition, and you start building that culture of why go look for a job? If I have an idea, I can go start my own business. Next, please. Okay. A lot of, Jordan was ranked in the Global Entrepreneurship Week run by Kaufman Foundation. Jordan was ranked #1 in terms of the number of entrepreneurial activity. We're very glad that Jordan is very active in the entrepreneurial and startup stage. Next, please. Next. This is an interesting program that we run at universities. It's a student club. It's a grassroots operation. So it's a club for students for entrepreneurship. So the students themselves, they lead these activities and try to become entrepreneurs and spread that at around 10 different universities in the country. Next. iPark is the incubator. It started in 2003. It's a small space, but we're expanding, and we're focusing initially on ICT, but now we're really trying to support things like green technology, clean tech, energy, water, and environment. Next. And it has been very successful, relatively speaking. I think Infodev selected iPark a couple of years ago as one of 3 incubators around the world to be duplicated in Africa. We have incubated about 50 companies. The success rate typically is very high. Many of these companies are very successful today, and they're growing. Next. And the idea is really, again, job creation. We have a lot of youth coming to the marketplace. Big companies and government cannot create enough jobs in the next 20 years. We need small and medium-sized companies to create the jobs that are needed. And so far, we've created about 16, these companies create about 1,600 jobs at a really low budget. And a lot of them are have a lot of intellectual capital. There is patents, copyright, plus most of their clients are outside Jordan. So only 15% sell to Jordan. The rest sell to the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, and Europe and the United States. So it's export-oriented, most of these companies. Next, please. Okay, go on. These are just some examples. For example, Jiran was the first company to attract Intel Capital as an investor. Next. Companies, again, most of the client, like US Army, Procter & Gamble, Volvo. This is a Jordanian company that does a lot of simulation for them. Next, please. Next. And this is one of the companies that now they're negotiating with Adobe to be acquired. They protect flash and rich media on the internet, and their clients are people like Disney and Autodesk, and I know they are in discussion with Adobe to be acquired. Next, please. Clean tech is another area we just got into. We believe that water and energy are going to be the strategic issues for the next 50 years. Renewable energies are crucial now, and we're encouraging people to come up with solutions in the clean tech area. Next, please. Next. One example that we've done in Jordan with collaboration with Nissan is to build a solar charging station. So it's a real charging station with solar panels that can charge electric vehicle, and Nissan is big on electric vehicles. They ship their Leaf to Jordan, and we've been testing the idea of actually charging electric vehicle purely from the sun with no link to the grid. The IP commercialization office, again, works with patents, drafting patents, and try to commercialize research from universities, which is very important, especially that our research today is still very theoretical. It's not very applicable to the industry. We really need to make R&D relevant to the industry. Next. Next, please. Next. Okay, and finally, the final program in this whole value chain was the access to finance. We noticed that, as Iban mentioned, there's these stages of financing the corporation, from the valley of death, the early stage, all the way to venture capital and IPO. And Aldrich said that if you have an idea, you go to the bank, they will give you the money. You go to a VC, you're too small for this VC, you don't have a track record. You use some of your friends and family money and fools' money. And business angels is really the perfect place for smart money. People with money, but also with expertise that they can come in, inject some cash, and try to help you grow the company. Next. And that's why I created this angel network, and I also like to thank Benjamin and AngelSoft, Gust, I guess now, by providing us really with the support, the platform that will allow deal management and share the deals with the investors and manage these deals and communicate with people applying. Next. And the process, a typical process. We get applications from all over, business plan competition, incubators, universities. Anybody go to the website and say, I want money. They fill up an application. The management of the network will screen this application, because sometimes you get things from, I don't know, Nigeria, and people just apply, so you have to filter those. We really get a selection committee, a committee to say, who do we think are most ready for investment. We select about 3 to 4 in each event of matchmaking because the investor doesn't have the time or the attention span to listen to more than 3 really good companies at a time. We select these 3 and we work with them. Before they sit in front of the investor, we sit with them for 2-3 times. We coach them how to do the presentation. A lot of the technology people, they love the technology, so they keep talking about technology. While the investor, a lot of time in the half an hour he just want to know what is it that you're doing, why it's important, how much money do you need, and how do I get my money back. They can dig into that in the technology later on. And these are the things you have to train the entrepreneur and coach him before he sits in front of the investor, because I always tell him, you got 15 minutes. You either grab his attention or he will never listen to you again. So use these 15 minutes just to hook the investor, and he can give you his card and say, I want to talk to you, let's meet next and have a discussion. We're talking also with Altage and the World Bank and InfoDev about a sidecar, a co-matching fund that match whatever the angel investor will invest. And we'll hope that will work. Again, we developed, and thanks to also Mr. Nelson Gray. Nelson was one of the first people to come to Jordan 3 years ago and help us design the angel network in Jordan, similar to what they have in Scotland, and has been very useful in designing the whole process, talking to the investors and getting the network moving. Next, please. So it has been a year. I mean, it's not a long time, but we have relatively good. I was surprised by how much an angel investor really got interested. We did 5 matchmaking where the entrepreneur actually meet the 10 or 15 investors and pitch their idea to them. There was 18 companies who did that in the 5 matchmaking. About 20 investors on average keep showing up. 3 deals were closed in a value of about $1 million, which is not bad for startup companies, 2 years old, in the first year of the angel network life. And we have 2 in negotiation. We're very pleased with that, and these are some of the matchmaking events, and one of them, Altage, was, I don't think you're in the picture, but you were there. And finally, I would like to thank you, and I would like to quote our president, Princess Sumaya bint al-Hassan, the president of the Science City, by saying that investing in knowledge pays the highest interest. Thank you very much, and I wish you luck in your pursuit for angel networks.
I have one question for you. Now, how did you turn some of the folks who we know to be rich into investing into your 3 deals? I mean, wouldn't they rather invest in real estate or, I don't know, some other activities that are known to them? And how did you get them to invest in the technology?
Yeah, a very good question. That's part of how to get the momentum going. And I think the trick is to get 2 to 3 figures, celebrity-like figures, a very successful entrepreneur. In Jordan, we have the founder and the CEO of a global company called Aramex. He's a very well-respected man. He's an entrepreneur. So we got him to be on the founding committee. 3 more entrepreneurs that are known in Jordan for their success in building companies. We get 2-3 of these people to be the steering committee or the founding member. And I think they brought credibility. Many people want, if they see some of these investors putting money, putting 100K in a company, other rich business people who've never been angels, especially in technology, they're used to real estate, to physical actually investment. They were curious about why is Fadi putting $100,000 in the company? There must be something there. So what the heck, I'll go put another $100,000 with him and see what happens. And it is this sort of cycling effect, and these people who are sitting, I call them on the fence, they want to be angel investors, they don't know how to do it, and they don't sometimes understand the technology that they're investing in or the domain. But having a couple of people who are expert angels and very active and well respected in the society, in the business society, helps a lot. So I always recommend getting these 2-3 leaders with passion to lead the network, and then many angels start following, if nothing, just out of curiosity. They don't want to miss on something interesting.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
presentation.